What is going on, everyone? And it's Monday here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're getting stuck into all of the things you need to be doing today or want to be doing or that's going to be impactful for you. But today in particular, I thought, let's get a podcast going. Let's do a solo podcast, which is going to inspire people, motivate people, and re-energize people for a better day, a better week, a better month, and deeper connections with themselves and others. Let's go. So what I've done, I've put out a bit of a poll online, and I just wanted to see who would want who would want to bring some questions in. So not a poll, a bit of a Q&A for people to add to my list. So I've got 10 questions here, and I've literally just copied them offline and just chucked them on my notes in front of me. So we're really going to do this today off the top of the dome, but this is going to be about, where we're at right now in our life, what we're doing, and are you doing the things you truly want to be doing? And if not, why? So we're going to unpick a lot of things today, and I really like some of the questions, just looking at them now briefly. And there's 10 questions. I'm going to give my best to answer them as properly as possible, and hopefully you feel more clearer on your mission, and we get some success today. So thank you. All right, let's do this. So question number 1, are you living the life you want or just living one you settle for? Wow. Straight into it. Now, are you living the life you want, or you just or just living the one you settle for? So that's a really important and really cool question, because it depends where you are in your life. And are you listening to society, what society tells you that you want, or are you listening to your gut, your intuition, what you truly want? And I see so much for so many people, in particular people who are people-pleasing tendencies. They live to serve others. Now, that can be good for certain areas of your life, but if you're just doing it to please others all the time, what you'll get to a stage in your life, if it's in a career, if it's in a relationship, is you'll just be go, go, go all the time, and you'll get to this destination, and you'll sit there and reflect and think, this is what I thought I was meant to be doing, but I've got you and I've achieved it, I've got the medal, but it just doesn't feel right. I feel like this isn't it. And it's not end of the world, but it makes you realize that I need to change. I need to make different, better choices. So one thing that you can definitely do to really understand that about yourself is giving yourself time in solitude, or self-reflecting, or like a bit of a self-assessment on yourself. Am I doing the things I really want to do, or am I just doing the things that I think I should be doing because of the pressure of others, or being a people pleaser? And you depends where you are in your life, but maybe you feel pressured from your social group or your parents or whatever it is. And it really giving yourself that time to just sit there and ask these questions. And if you actually say these questions, and I love this stage of where you are in life, but if you really ask these questions just before you go to bed, maybe just sit there on the bed and ask yourself the questions. Am I living the life I truly want? He'll give you the answer, and it might not be the one you want, or it might give you the answer, and it might be something that you want. It depends where you are. But if it's not, if it's giving you an uncomfortable feeling, a sensation, or telling you something subconsciously, well, maybe that's your answer. The best thing about it is you're aware of it now, and you got to make those changes. But the biggest one is getting clarity on how to do that. Doing it on your own can be scary, and that's one of the biggest things that I do with my program, is coaching men and women to become a better version of themselves and get crystal clear on what they want and how they are going to achieve it. And that's predominantly the alpha reset. People who are stuck on the hamster wheel, doing things they thought that was meant to be right, but it's not actually for them. But anyway, it's asking yourself those questions. Am I in the relationship I want to be in? Is this the career path that I wanted to be in? Because I'm on a building site right now, but I just love connecting with people, talking to people. Or maybe you love being in sales, but you're in a factory right now. It's really asking yourself these questions. Or maybe you want to be a PT, whatever it is. Utilizing your strengths, but giving yourself time to identify that. Ask yourself these questions. What are my natural skill sets, and if I enhance them, how much better could I be at that area of my life? Question number 2. When was the last time you felt properly proud of yourself? Not just busy, but proud. Love that. No busy idiots around you. That one is really interesting, and it's asking yourself that question. But for me, I feel extremely proud of the community I've built, the clients that I've got, seeing them excel, seeing them win, and more importantly, seeing myself grow as a person. You know, the person I was when I started my business 4 or 5 years ago to who I am right now is totally different. And I've learned and I've invested in myself. But I think the biggest thing is to feel proud about yourself, especially when it comes to bigger projects, is having delayed gratification. So having a goal and setting it out, I know it's going to be hard, but just getting one foot in front of the other to that goal, but not celebrating it too early. Being aware that I'm achieving something right now, but if I just keep my head down for a little bit longer and I get to that spot that you truly wanted, that's when you feel really proud. So when I started the community or the business in 2021, it was seeing that happen now. I'm extremely proud of that from back then, but I'm proud of it right now. So every time, I see the clients online, or I meet them in person, or the the community of the run club or the sea dips on a Friday, and you just see people there in numbers connecting, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm extremely proud of that part of my life and the connections I made, regardless if it was in Australia, in North England, or now in Wales. I love it because that's the areas I just feel I want to be impactful. Question number 3, and go back to 2. Ask yourself that question too. When's the last time you felt really proud of yourself? Really proud of yourself. Again, give yourself time to answer that. Question number 3, are your habits today aligned with the future you actually want to create? Well, for me, definitely. I believe structure creates freedom. So for me this morning, got up at 5:30, my alarm was, got up, went to the gym for 6, did a gym workout 6 till 7, got home, quick bite to eat, walked the dog, had my first meeting today at 8 o'clock, which is early, but I loved it. And everything that I did today was A, for myself, was the gym, was A, taking the dog for a walk and eating good food, and then get into my work. So this is all myself right now in the morning, looking after myself first of all, making sure I'm doing something for myself. I love spending quality time walking my dog. It's mine and his, solitude time, and then rolling that into the day, getting into my clients, feeling energized, feeling ready to start the day. So yeah, 100%. And then, as the day goes on, journaling. That's a big one for me, is journaling. I've got it over there. I was just about to grab it. But yeah, the journal is powerful for me because it just keeps me accountable, and I give quality time to myself to reflect and go, okay, am I moving in the right direction? Am I going where I want to go? And having faith that it's going to work out on that journey as well. Having faith in that. That's the biggest one. Do you feel like you are moving forward or just running harder on the same hamster wheel? Wow. And this is out to the audience, this one. Well, that's one of the biggest ones is, working on a career. People say they don't have the time. They're in a job that they don't have any time, but they get more work on top. And once they get that load of work done, more work comes on top again. And it's just asking yourself, are you being impactful with your time? Can you create structure? Can you create better systems so you create yourself freedom? Can you delegate work if you work in a team? Can you identify what's urgent on a day-to-day basis? Can you schedule things out? Does that need to be done today, or can that be done on Friday, or can that be done next week or the month after? Whatever it is, identifying that, because if your to-do list is just the size of your arm, you get half of that done. The second half of that, you're going to be thinking, I didn't get half of that done. So where's your mindset at? Is it a negative mindset or is it a positive mindset? Because I know for a fact if I had 10 jobs to do that day and I only got 4 of them done and I had 6 left, then I'm sitting at home twiddling my thumbs going, oh, come on, all. I had 6 other things to do, but it was never realistic or achievable to get all those done today. So asking yourself, how can I become more impactful? What are tasks that I can do on a day-to-day basis which are going to be impactful? And this is another one on that, is finding out when you're most productive. Finding out when you're most productive, because everyone is different. So when are your energy levels at their best? When do you feel like you really get stuff done? For me, I'm a morning person, so it's making sure I can get into a position of 8:30 to 1 o'clock. That is where I'm really impactful. That's when I get my calls done. That's when I get, any projects I need to get done. That's when I'm giving the best energy. Now, after that time, I'm on a slow downward spiral then. So it's identifying that for me and realizing, okay, that's where I'm going to be most productive. So I'm going to eat the frog in that moment, get all the hard shit done, get the stuff which is going to move the needle forward. And then everything after that should be on a downward spiral, should be easier for me. Don't know if you can hear. My dog, I brought him into the studio today, and he loves a good snore. So he's with us today. All right, let's get back into it. What belief are you still carrying that keeps you stuck at your current level? So question 5. What belief are you still carrying that keeps you stuck at your current level? So you want to ask yourself here, what beliefs are you still carrying that keeping you stuck at your current level? And this is so common, and I like to break this down in a theory, or breaking it down to people in an iceberg metaphor. And this is really big on the conscious and subconscious mind. So with the conscious mind, on a day-to-day basis, you only use 10% of your mind every day. And then there's 90% of your mind in the subconscious. So that's kind of where like all the reprogram is. No, that's where all the programming is in your mind. That's where all of the stories, experiences, emotions, beliefs, all of those are stored in the subconscious, which you don't become aware of. They just happen in the background. And then you've got 10%, which is the conscious mind. And that is, your day-to-day routine. You rely on willpower, a lot of things. So, for instance, let's just make a scenario up right now that, you wanted to lose weight and you're doing a 10-week challenge to lose weight. And let's just say right now you've been given a program by a coach and he has given you the tools to lose that weight. So you're going to do 10 weeks of this, and 9 times out of 10, you'll lose that weight. And then for a lot of people, after those 10 weeks, when the accountability's gone, they go back to old habits. They go back to putting that weight on which they once lost. Now, it's not the fact that you don't know how to do it. It's just the fact that you haven't shifted any of your subconscious beliefs. You've been given the tools for that period and you've utilized willpower and accountability by this coach. But once he's gone or she's gone, you're not accountable to anyone right now, and you start to slip. But when you start to slip, you go back to these past experiences, past stories. Let's say Monday to Thursday, you eat extremely well, but then when it gets to Friday, you just blow out. And you don't know why. It just happens. And then it happens on a Saturday and Sunday, and then you try to make it right on a Monday. But the emotion connected to that is, I can never get my shit together. I'm not good enough. I can't, for some reason, snap out of that. And it may be being a past belief, a past emotion, or someone might have told you something in the past. So there's an emotion connected to past experiences, and that's in the subconscious. But if we don't get into those areas, every time that we try and utilize just willpower to get out, we get out of the hole. And then when we get to that roadblock again, that crossroad, and we slip and make a mistake, we go back into the past. And we go deeper and deeper into this hole that we've created. And it gets harder and harder to get out of that then. So for anyone to make long-lasting change, you've got to change your beliefs. You've got to change your subconscious. You've got to change the stories and emotions connected to that. Now, you can do that. But it's just not an overnight thing. You've got to really want to do it. You've got to believe it. You've got to really hone in on what you truly want. And when you get excited about your future, you dial in. There must have been times in the past where you don't know why, but you've really stuck to something. You've really dialed in and you found your hyper focus on something, because the reality is you're excited about what you're doing. You're excited about your goal. Now, if you're not excited about your goal, then it's easy to fall off track. It's easy to go back into old habits. And if you notice as well, if a lot of you right now might be going on holidays in the next couple of months, well, you're going to try and look a bit better for that holiday. You've got a goal to work towards. But then after that holiday, you go back on that cycle. But that's programmed in the subconscious mind. So that's why a lot of people are stuck. You've got to change the belief, the emotions, the stories from the past. Question number 6. What would change in your life if you started putting yourself first without guilt? Well, I've just asked you that question. What do you think it is? What do you think it is to you right now? Where do you think you would be if you started to prioritize yourself? Do you think you would be 6, 12 months or 5 years ahead? Would you be okay in doing the things you wanted to do without feeling guilty? Or would you feel like you didn't have to over-explain yourself all the time or feel this guilt every time you do stuff? That's the biggest one. It's implementing boundaries, implementing self-respect and understanding you valuing yourself more every day is going to become the better version for yourself, and you're going to align with people more like you, who are aligned with you, have the same values, have the same beliefs, have the same future. They want better for themselves. Now, if you go around and prioritize other people ahead of yourself who, in all honesty, don't require it, then you're always going to be stuck in that cycle. And it's so common. I see it so much with clients when they jump on that inquiry call and they're curious, they want to know more. They want to do something to themselves to better themselves. Maybe that's a career or a lifestyle or a better choice. But then they don't want to let down X, Y, and Z of people. So they do it, feel guilty, and then they feel guilty for letting down these people. And next thing you know, they're guilty with themselves, they're annoyed at them, and they start going in a spiral. And then they feel stuck and overwhelmed. How can we change that? How can you implement healthy boundaries, communicate your needs, and feel okay with that? Well, there's a great thing called the 90-second rule. And this is a great one for people pleasers, is when you're in a journey of, not a journey, when you're in a situation where someone asks for your time and you are already busy, you're already in a position where I can't commit to that, I've got too much on, but you've instantly gone yes. You want to refrain from that, pull back. And it's called the 90-second rule, where when this emotion comes through your body, because it's not the words coming out your mouth, it's the guilt that's coming through your body and it sits in your chest when you don't want to do something and you need to communicate that, so you refuse to do it. But if you can get that word out, no, I can't commit to that, sorry, and just sitting with that emotion for 90 seconds, well, what happens is that emotion will pass in 90 seconds. And that is you essentially winning over people pleasing. That's essentially you getting one step closer to tackling people pleasing, because it's the emotion connected to it. And every time you're going to do it, it's going to get easier and easier. And before you know it, speaking your needs becomes easier. Another one that you can do is, and I love this one, is getting a schedule. So having like a calendar on your phone, an app, or on your laptop. And when someone asks you something, look at the calendar first and say, sorry, mate, I can't. I've got that on Thursday. I can't do that. But what I can do is an alternative. If you really want to do it, I can do it next week or the week after. But it makes you prioritize yourself and your needs and what you actually got to do. Hope that works and helps. Question 7. If nothing changed for the next 3 years, would you be happy or secretly frustrated? Well, that depends where you are in your life. If you've held off on doing something because of a partner, or you really wanted to do that project, or you really wanted to go on that holiday, or you really wanted to travel and you never did it because you didn't want to you held back because of someone else, then there's going to be some resentment and frustration. If you communicate that to the person and you wanted to do it and it worked out, then great. And then the other one is if it's in business, would you be happy where you are right now? Would you be happy in the career you are right now? Would you be happy where you're living? Would you be happy with your social connection? Would you be happy with your relationship with your family? Would you be happy with your own routine? Ask yourself those questions and just see what comes up. And again, it's giving yourself that time to sit with yourself and get real with yourself. Ask yourself, because you've got one life to live, and I know it's so cliche, but I would hate to feel like I'm on my deathbed one day and reflecting on my life and sitting there and disappointed, going, I didn't do the things I truly wanted to do. I just lived for other people. I think it's great to serve, but when you're really putting yourself bottom of the rung, it's a tough life. And live a bit, enjoy lives, do the things you truly want to do. And if it doesn't work out, if you didn't want to do it, well, hey, at least you tried it. When I mean it didn't work out, is it didn't work out the way you wanted to do. I'd rather like to know I tried and never try at all. Question number 8. Have you accepted being fine as your normal when deep down you know you're meant for more? I think there's a lot of people that live that life, just coasting, just living above happy. No, they're not living above happy. They're just living. They think they're happy, but it's like it's like being in a relationship with someone you don't want to be with, and then you meet someone else and you're like, oh my God, this is what a relationship should be like. But you thought back then that was the ideal situation. That was the ideal life. But you finally let go of them shackles and let yourself level up. It's kind of like that, isn't it? If you know there's more for you, why aren't you getting there? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you investing in yourself? Why aren't you going to seminars? Why aren't you reading books? Yeah, you listen to this podcast, but why aren't you doing these things? Because if you don't change, then how do you expect your future to be better? I used to think for a long time that I was a bit weird thinking I wanted more out of life, and I'd be ambitious and I'd say out loud what I wanted, or I'd speak so openly from the heart. And I used to think, gosh, am I weird? Am I different in comparison to other people? But then I knew deep down that the more misunderstood I was from others, I was more understood by myself, and I was so content with that. And I was fine with that. But if you are knowing that there's more for you out there, but you're just not doing it, well, let's get at it. Let's go for it. Get real with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, let's get fucking real for this. Let's get excited about our future. Let's get around the right people. Let's get uncomfortable. That's where true growth comes from. Comfort seeks weaker people. It's good for a little bit, but not for a long time. Discomfort creates animals, creates beasts. And that's what I want, and that's what everyone who works with me gets. Full accountability, full action, and full reward. Number 9, imagine leading your younger self. Would you tell them to copy the life you're living today? I'm going to read that out to you again, and I'm just going to give you a moment to answer that. Imagine leading your younger self. Would you tell them to copy the life you are living today? I'm going to ask myself that question, and I'd copy the life I've had today, because everything that's happened to me has created this person I am today. Every blessing and every mistake was a lesson that I needed in order to go on the path that I am now. Every connection I've had, good or bad, they taught me something about myself. So I'd keep going. I'm happy with this. And lastly, what would happen if you finally said yes to backing yourself and joining something like the Alpha Reset? It's mad that, right? When someone invites you on a night out, you don't even question investing in that. When it goes to a holiday, which you're barely getting by at the moment, you don't question that. You'll figure it out. But when it comes to prioritizing yourself, get rid of feeling stuck, getting out your head, getting excited about your day, your week, your month, doing the things you truly want to do, we'll put that on the back burner. No one's going to make you do it. But you're going to have an event in life which is going to test you and challenge you, and you're going to be required to level up. You're going to be required to master your mindset, become more resilient. And that's going to force you to get uncomfortable again. But it's wanting to do it. Do you want to be the best version of yourself? And I know that sounds cliche, but is it like, do you want to be living life? Or do you want to just be coasting? And if you want to be just coasting, that's fine. But probably not listening to this podcast if you're just coasting. People listen to this podcast because they want to get inspired, excited. They want to get this shit together fully. They want to take their salary to the next level. They want to double it. They want to do a career they truly love. They want to be around like-minded people who are leveling up. They want to cut the bad habits out of their life. They want to improve areas of their life. They want to implement better habits. They want to feel inspired. They want to pass this message down to someone else who could feel inspired too because of the journey they've been on. Yeah. Asking yourself those questions, guys. Thank you for the questions of other people too. I like that. Really like that. Now, we've got a couple of events coming up at the moment. We have got, obviously, every Thursday we do a run club in Bridgend, and then once a month we connect it with a local business. Fridays, sea dips, and now the weather's getting better, so this is becoming like a beach day. Now, the weather's still fresh, but more than welcome to come down in Bridgend, or Puthcall. If you want to find out more, follow me on Instagram at OllieOles_1 And if you want to get real, if you want to get more resilience in life, if you want to start to take yourself to that next level, if you want to get rid of overthinking and getting out of your head and cutting the bullshit out of your life and bad habits, to truly live a life in health, wealth, and relationships, then just send me a message and I'll get back to you. Right, guys, have a great day. Happy Monday. Let's go.